Dr. Raleigh, you are not muted. I mean, you're unmuted. You're muted. I'm sorry.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday webinar. I'm excited. New topic. I'm Dr. Carolyn Rowley, the Executive Director, founder here at Cayenne Wellness Center. So welcome. And we have a different topic this time that we thought would be interesting. And I'm excited to share the person who came up with the idea. So we can bring Elizabeth on. Elizabeth is this year's MSW intern. We've had MSW interns for, 4 years now. And so this year, Elizabeth joined us in August, September, and she'll be with us for 2 semesters, so ending pretty soon in May. And so one of her projects, she thought about the regional center. She's most familiar with regional centers out here in California. So we thought that might be very helpful, and maybe a lot of people may not be aware. So before I turn it over to Elizabeth, I just wanted to say, hey, you guys, welcome. Wish us a happy 25th. You know that we are on our 25th anniversary. So Cayenne Wellness Center is celebrating 25 years. We started in the year 2000. We're now in 2025. So give us a Yahoo, welcome, what have you. We're moving and grooving and doing quite a few things. Just a few announcements. Save the date for our 17th annual Sickle Cell Disease Educational Summit. This time it's going to be in, do you know the way to San Jose? Yep, it's going to be in San Jose, California. And so we hope to see you all there in September 17th through 20th. And the theme is on pain, the seen and unseen. We also have upcoming our Authors Corner. We are currently in our transition program, which will be ending, graduation is in June. We have our mini seminars. So chock full of different activities. Oh, and we also have World Sickle Cell Day, June 19th. Our marathon continues. So mark those dates. That's June 19th. Mark September for our summit. But right now, you all are here to get a little bit more information on regional centers. So what I'm going to do is turn this over to Elizabeth. Elizabeth?
Thank you so much for the introduction, Dr. Rowley. It has been a really amazing experience interning with Cayenne this year. And today I will be doing my presentation on bridging the gap with how regional centers can better serve the sickle cell community. Like Dr. Rowley said, I am an intern over at Cayenne, working toward my master's degree in social work. I also do have a lot of experience with regional center services, specifically in California. So I thought that I would bring some of that information to those at Cayenne so that they are able to know about regional center services and, if they're eligible, how those services can help them. Next slide, please. So what we'll be discussing today is what are regional centers. We will discuss who qualifies for services. How do you sign up for regional center services? We will also be discussing what services are offered through regional centers, not only in California, but throughout the country. And then also finding your local center, qualifying for services. And if anyone has any testimonials, if you are receiving regional center services or your child is receiving regional center services, feel free to share that in the chat so that we can, discuss that and how those services have helped you or helped your child. Next slide, please. So what and where are the regional centers? So regional centers are state agencies that provide services to individuals that are diagnosed with intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities. And intellectual disability is, it can be mild, moderate, or severe. An intellectual disability is someone that is diagnosed with an IQ of 70 or below. Of course, this is a spectrum. So some individuals with intellectual disabilities may have more barriers than someone who has a mild intellectual disability. So there is a spectrum, and those services are based on that spectrum. So some people may have higher support needs than others. A developmental disability is a category of disabilities. Basically, those disabilities impact a person's physical, intellectual, and or emotional development. So these typically begin before the age of 22. And then some examples of a developmental disability is autism spectrum disorder, cerebral palsy, attention deficit disorder, depending on which regional center. And that I will get into later when we discuss the different centers. Learning disabilities, Down syndrome, and developmental disabilities can range in severity, and some can display in different ways. So some are intellectual, some are physical, and some can involve both. And then I did want to mention California is the only statewide regional center that serves various catchment areas. So there are regional centers all over the state of California that provide services to the different catchment areas. There are other states that have really great support for individuals with disabilities as well, including Arizona, New Hampshire, Oregon, and Vermont. In Arizona, the agency responsible is the Arizona Department of Economic Security, which offers services to individuals with intellectual disabilities. For the Arizona Department of Economic Security, an individual does already need to be diagnosed with a disability. They do not provide any evaluation. So that's something that you, if you are residing in Arizona, you can request either through the school system, through your primary care physician or your child's primary care physician to determine if an evaluation is recommended. Complete that evaluation, and then you would be able to bring those documents to the Arizona Department for Economic Security to begin receiving those services. In Vermont, the agency is the Department of Disabilities, Aging, and Independent Living. These departments, there's a department in each geographic region of Vermont, and this is to ensure that the services are available throughout the state. For this Department of Disabilities, Aging, and Independent Living, they do provide evaluations, so you can actually begin services with them. You can get that evaluation there. You don't have to go through your primary care physician. You do not have to go through the school. They actually do provide those services for evaluation to determine if someone is eligible for those services. In New Hampshire, there are 10 area agencies. These are nonprofit organizations that are contracted by the Bureau of Developmental Services. They provide services to individuals with developmental disabilities and acquired brain disorders. This is different from many other regional centers in other states. Most states do not provide services to someone that has an acquired brain disorder. An acquired brain disorder would be someone that has any brain damage that occurs after birth. So that would be something as a result of a medical condition such as a stroke or a traumatic brain injury, brain tumor, something that may occur to the brain that would cause the development to change or be compromised in some way. So that would be the acquired brain disorder, which is different from an intellectual disability or a developmental disability that someone is born with. So just did want to make that but let you know that there is a difference there. And then also for New Hampshire, they do provide, New Hampshire, they do provide, again, that assessment piece as well. In Oregon, there are community developmental disabilities programs. They provide services and support for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. They do not include the acquired brain disorder like New Hampshire does. And they also, in Oregon, they do provide those evaluations. So you can actually begin services at the Community Developmental Disability Program, and you can go to them and say, I would like to get, I have some concerns. I would like an evaluation, and they will provide that evaluation. So you don't, again, need to go through your primary care physician or the school system in order to get that evaluation. Next slide, please. So who qualifies for services? I know that we did discuss a lot of different qualifying diagnoses that would qualify someone for regional center services. But just wanted to make sure that I went over it one more time. Intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities such as autism, cerebral palsy. In some cases, epilepsy can also qualify someone for services for regional center services and other services in states that provide services for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It just depends on the severity and how much it impacts a person's life. So for some people, they have epilepsy, but they may not have seizures to the point where they are unable to, attend regular school or to have a job. So they are still able to navigate their life and participate in life in the way that someone without epilepsy might be able to participate. But then there are some people that, are diagnosed with epilepsy, and it severely impacts their life because they're having multiple seizures per day. It may impact, their ability to attend school, to have a job. So that would be something that may qualify them for regional center services, not only in California, but at the other regional centers that I mentioned as well. There are a few ways also to sign up for services. You can go in California, especially, you can go to the regional center, the one that's closest to your home that serves your community, and which you can find on the Department of Developmental Services website. They actually do have a regional center by zip code. So you just input your zip code or your full address, and they would be able to tell you which regional center serves your home address. You could go there in person and explain to them what your concerns are, that you would like to either have an evaluation, or maybe you've already had an evaluation through the school system or through your primary care physician. And you can request services to begin based on either needing that evaluation or an evaluation that you already have. With centers outside of California, that service may be similar. So for instance, some of the states that I mentioned that allow that will cover that evaluation step, you could go to them and say, I have some concerns. These are my concerns. And you can request that evaluation. Otherwise, if they don't accept that, then you would need to request those services either through the school system or through the primary care physician to get that evaluation. And then you could bring those documents to the agency that serves your state. That's basically how you would sign up for services. And then those are the qualifying diagnoses. Next slide, please. So some services, there are many different services based on age and the need of the community and the individual. So there, especially in California and then in other states as well, there are early interventions. So they provide therapies such as speech therapy, ABA therapy, even floor therapy. Floor therapy is when a child maybe isn't ready for applied behavior analysis, which is the ABA therapy that helps with behaviors. But they get the floor therapy where they're able to play and engage in therapies that help them increase, basically to help them with their motor skills, with communication and play. So those are some therapies. Also family support. So any support that family may need to receive services through their own insurance or through the school. They do provide some early intervention services to support the family. And these are all based on the child's needs. So not every child is going to have the same need for service. so it's tailored to that specific need of the family and of the child. For school-age children, they provide, most regional centers will provide the diagnosis, the assessment, and then they will also provide service coordination. So that means making sure that the child is receiving the services that they need in the school, making sure that that child is receiving the services they need outside of school. So applying for Medi-Cal, applying for other benefits that they may be eligible for. The service coordinator can also provide services for after school programs to support the family, with caring for the child when the family is working or otherwise, occupied. So they also provide parent training. So some regional centers do provide like parent education classes, how to support their child with any needs that they may have, behavior-wise, emotional-wise. And then also, they do provide some early childhood education. So for instance, the regional center in California, especially if, for instance, a family is concerned about their child's speech, maybe they have a language delay or they're having difficulty with a speech impediment, or maybe they aren't using words yet. If they request those service through their insurance, and for whatever reason the insurance says no, that they are not going to provide the speech therapy, they can request it from the regional center. And based on the child's need, the regional center could possibly provide that speech therapy that is needed for the child to thrive. For high school, there are so many services for individuals in high school, one of them being education advocacy. So there are some services provided by regional centers to advocate for the family to make sure that the child or the high schooler is receiving needed services in the classroom. So I'm not sure if some of you have encountered an issue at school where you have requested like special time on tests or tutoring services or, extra help in the classroom and been told no, that your child does not need this, or the school has decided that they, based on their parameters that it's not needed. The regional center can sometimes provide that advocacy component where an advocate could go with you to the school, assist you with that IEP process, and advocate for your child and for the family to receive those services through the school that you believe your child needs. So I think that's a really great service, something that is really needed, especially for our kiddos that do have those special needs. Also vocational training. So, getting them prepared to go to college, preparing them to enter the workforce if that's something that the high schooler is interested in. So those transition services as well, making sure that the transition from high school to, the workplace or higher education is seamless and is supportive of their needs. So there are a lot of services that can help with that the regional center provides, such as independent living services. They can help individuals in high school that are transitioning out of high school to gain independent living skills. So that means taking care of themselves, registering for classes on their own, and things like that. There are some other services that are offered by regional centers once someone graduates from high school or graduates from their extended education program, which is the program from 18 to 22 that, if an individual is not quite ready to be graduating from high school yet, they can receive that extra time in a high school environment where they're gaining vocational skills as opposed to that academic skills. So working on cooking, keeping a house, budgeting, things like that. And then once they're done with that program, the regional center can then provide services to continue those skills. So they have day programs where they can make friends, engage with their community, go out and learn bus systems, learn how to take care of their home. And then they can also provide career training programs. So these are programs that an individual that has graduated from high school can attend to work on interview skills, apply for jobs, build a resume, build a support network where they are able to, succeed in finding competitive employment and getting a job and making money. And I think that's one of the things that I love most about the regional center services is just the support that they provide for people to reach their goals. For adults, so there is respite care. For instance, if a family has a child who is an adult now, and this goes for children as well. In most places, they do offer respite as well, which is a break for the parent. But for adults, especially in California, they do have out-of-home respite. So let's say you're a full-time caregiver for a child or an adult child with a disability that needs your care, your support for everyday living. They, are not able to stay home alone. They need that support, but you need a break too. So maybe you have to go out of town for work, or you need to go out of town on a vacation for yourself to take care of yourself, which is something, that many people that care for dependents, especially dependents with disabilities, they do need a break for themselves, but they offer the service where the individual can go and stay out of the home in a facility that is staffed, that is equipped to care for that adult child with disabilities, while the family member is able to take care of the things that they need to take care of. And then also applying for benefits. I know it's really difficult to navigate that application process, not only for SSI, but there's in-home supportive services. That is another resource that individuals can utilize, but it's hard to apply for those services. The regional centers, a lot of them can support the family with applying for those benefits and walk them through the process. And it's people that have been there before. They know how to do it. They know the process really well. And so they're able to really support the families with getting those needed services for their family members. They also, pretty much all of them, anyone that's providing services as part of the regional center, they are mandated reporters. So if there is abuse, not only in the home, but also if there's, suspected abuse in the day program or at school, they're mandated reporters. So it's an extra set of eyes to basically to report any instances of abuse that may be occurring, which I think is also a really great benefit. Next slide, please. So testimonials. Does anyone, if anyone wants to share in the chat, if they've received regional center services, where did you receive regional center services, and if they have helped you at all? I'm not sure if anyone has anything that they would like to share. It doesn't look like it. Okay, and then next slide, please. Okay, so finding your local regional center or state agency for disabling conditions. In California, you can search the regional center by zip code on the website for the Department of Developmental Services. In other states, you can search for your local state agencies, such as the Department of Developmental Services, Community Developmental Disabilities Program, the Bureau of Developmental Services. You can also just Google disability services and then you can put your state in. You should be able to find some resources that way. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to put that in the chat. I can also try to answer that. And then next slide, please. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, one thing I'm so sorry I meant to mention is that, I did want to mention that having sickle cell alone is not a qualifying disability for regional center services. It is really for individuals with developmental disabilities or intellectual disabilities. However, if there are comorbid conditions, I do believe that the regional center services could really benefit in a warrior with sickle cell disease, as well as their intellectual and developmental disability. So I did want to mention that. And then if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. I haven't gotten any questions yet, but I just wanted to thank everyone for attending this session. And it was wonderful to be able to provide this presentation to everyone. And hopefully it will help for you to better understand regional center services, how you can get those services started. And yeah, thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This was an amazing information that we all needed. Thank you, Ms. Elizabeth, for bringing this to us today. If we don't have any questions, happy Wednesday, everybody. Y'all know how we do it at Cayenne Wellness. We will see you again. And this Friday, we do have the Arthur's Corner coming up. See y'all Friday. Thanks so much for joining. Bye.